listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the program. We have a very special guest for you in this program. It's Tiger Woods' first ever golf instructor, Rudy Duran. Before anybody else, before there was Butch Harmon, before there was Hank Haney, before there was Sean Foley, going way, way back when Tiger was just a toddler, there was Rudy Duran. And Rudy saw what we later saw and had an idea, wow, this might be something. But did he know Tiger was that great that early on? It's probably best just to hear it in his words. Rudy Duran is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by the Golf Pro real estate experts, Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro from suncoastdreams.com. If your dream is to live in a golf resort community like Lakewood National Golf Club, where this podcast originates from, nobody better to help you out than Gene and Vince at suncoastdreams.com, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. And a big thanks to Party Drinks, which is the title sponsor of this. If you are looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, if you're tired of beer, if you're tired of seltzers named after the time of the day or crustaceans, and they just taste a little crappy for you, try a Party. I think you'll be very happy with that. For golfers, by golfers, super smooth and sneaky strong. Party. By the way, if you're in the golf industry or you're not, but Party isn't being sold where you play golf and you want it sold there, tell the person in charge to contact Paradise Craft Distributors. Paradise Craft is the exclusive distributor of Party drinks in Florida. All right, so I think that's enough of a preamble. Let's bring the man of the hour on board here, Rudy Duran. Rudy, how's it going? It's so good to talk to you.
Well, thank you for having me. It's all's going well.
So do you want to let the cat out of the bag about the technical snafu? Do you want to embarrass me or should I embarrass myself?
It's past. Sometimes we make bogeys. Sometimes we don't.
But I got to tell you, it is funny, though, is it not? Because we were having trouble. Rudy was having trouble seeing me as we were doing the pre-setup. And the problem was I didn't have my microphone turned on. I mean,
some simple thing.
You know what it's like, Rudy? It's kind of like when you were chipping balls or putting before a round and you forgot to put the putter in your bag and you get to the first green and you got no putter.
No putter. It's on the practice green. I picked up my wedge, but I didn't pick my putter. Yep.
Exactly. So I'm so glad to talk to you. I want to get into the background. I want to get into your background. I'm as fascinated by you as I'm fascinated by Tiger. But because everybody knows Tiger, why don't you tell me about your introduction to him way back when?
So when I first met him, I was working as a golf pro at a 18-hole night-lighted par 3 in Long Beach called Heartwell Golf Park. And I had a junior program on Saturdays. And then, so on one of the Saturdays, I think actually Tida brought Tiger out to the golf course before a Saturday golf program just to see if I would let him play there because he was not quite 5 yet. So I said, okay. They came into the pro shop and I said, okay, let's go down to the driving range and see how this looks. And so the three of us went down there. I teed up a few balls and Tiger gets his little driver out and he goes, hit 3 really good shots in a row. They only went like 50 yards, but he was very small. Like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. You can play here anytime you want. And in those days, it was difficult for juniors under 10 to get on the golf course. So it really gave him opportunity to start to be able to play golf at a golf course where he wasn't really allowed to play before that. He could sneak on sometimes, but anyway, so that was the big thing there. He was able to come out and play on my junior programs on Saturdays.
But I'm always fascinated by people talking about the first time that they've seen Tiger hit a shot. And Paul Azinger tells a great story about playing with him in the final round at the Memorial. Are you familiar with this? What he said to his caddy?
Mm-mm.
All right. So Paul intentionally had never seen Tiger hit a ball before. Well, they're paired in the final round. I think this is 1999 before the historic year 2000. So Paul didn't even want to watch him hit balls on the range. He just wanted a fresh start. He didn't want to perhaps be intimidated. Then Tiger rips it down the first hole. He looks at his caddy and says, "We're fucked." And they were. But
Yeah.
and Paul can tell a story, and he throws a little profanity in there just to add to it. But I think what I'm getting at is the wow factor. The first time you saw it, did you have it even way back then?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing for someone that young to hit it that well on that first day. And then as time went on, then my wow factor actually increased because of his ability to score was remarkable. He was shooting what I called Tiger par when he was 5 years old. So he's like shooting par golf when he was 5.
What is Tiger par? I think it's similar to something that I did when I just played all par fours as a par 5 and par 3s as a par 4 because I couldn't hit it long enough. But that was when I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. So 18-hole par 3, Tiger crushed a drive on a 120-yard hole. Well, he can't get there 120-yard holes. He might be able to get about 60 yards, 70 yards. Then he hit some kind of another club up onto the green and 2 putts. Well, I started calling that's a Tiger par 4. So even though it was only a 120-yard par 3 for Tiger, it was a par 4. So I called it Tiger par. So then he started playing based on his distance. So I gave him his par based on his distance.
And you think that helped him later on because he got accustomed to shooting lower scores and wasn't afraid to do it when it came time to playing real par?
Maybe, yeah. It certainly didn't hurt. He was successful right at the beginning, and he was playing his par. And I've heard him say when he was quite young that he felt good about it. It's my par. It's my par. So when he was interviewed, he got interviewed quite a few times when he was under 10. And so he was very adamant about my par. I could that made sense to him. He's a smart young man.
Did he seem to enjoy the game? I think for some they think that he was raised by Earl to be a golfer, and in some ways he was. But could you see the love that he had for the game from the start?
Yep, he loved playing golf, and he loved winning and beating the other kids. With I got to see Earl and Tida quite often, and I never saw them push him at all. And I think I've said this before, but if Tiger came home and said he wants to learn to play tennis, I don't think he'd get any grief from his parents.
Rudy Duran is our guest here on Par T Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Par T Drinks and the Golf Real Estate Pros of Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro from suncoastdreams.com. Rudy is perhaps best known for being the first instructor of the great Tiger Woods. But Rudy, I'm fascinated about your story. We all have a story, how it started, where it started. What's yours?
So I first got started golf when my mother and my father were divorced, and my dad would come out on weekends, and he would take me and my younger brother to the driving range. I was probably 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there, and started hitting balls on a driving range. And my dad was an avid golfer and a pretty good golfer. He could break 80 some of the time. But so that was quite good. And so I started playing golf with him when I could. And then once I could drive, I started playing golf on my own.
Did you love it right away, or was more time with Dad considering what was going on?
Well, it was nice to go see my dad. That was good to go. And then once I started driving and was able to go to the golf course, and then I got a job at a driving range, picking up balls on the range, I started to be very interested in golf myself.
Where was this exactly?
In the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. And then I worked at a place called Studio City, I believe, was a night-lighted driving range. And in those days, I could drive from the San Fernando Valley down to Studio City, and there really wasn't much traffic. So I could literally work after school and then get back home, but not that big of a deal. Today, it probably take 2 hours to get there and 2 hours to get back.
Oh, tell me about it. LA traffic is just atrocious, just how busy it is. But fortunately for you back then, you felt like you were getting somewhere in a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I thought so.
Did you get good at golf pretty quickly? Like, how did your game blossom?
I got pretty good. I think that my education from golf, because I didn't do a lot, but I did, start practicing and playing with a little bit. But I really didn't start playing much until I'd went in the Air Force, and then there was a base golf team that went out for, and then I started playing more competitive golf when I was in the Air Force. For one reason is I got out of duty. I got to go play golf, and then I got to be pretty good, pretty quick, and that was really where it started.
Well, I've heard similar stories from other people that were in the military. If you were good, you were given opportunities to work on your game. Is that kind of the story you're telling me?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was able to, I still had to go do my normal job, but I still got time off if I was on the I was on the base golf team and there was a tournament in Florida and we were in, some other state, then I was able to get off my duty and go down to Florida and play in the Air Force golf tournament.
How competitive was the military golf thing? Because one of my dear friends growing up, he's been a past guest, Bill Hyman, comes from golf royalty in the Philadelphia area. His father was the armed services champion at least once and maybe twice. I might be wrong about twice, but if you could win that, you were a stick. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. It was probably not. It was good. There was some good players. Absolutely, there was some good players. I was not the best player at that time, and the players were good. Especially when you went to the tournaments, you could see the guys that were really quite good.
When did you turn pro, Rudy?
It was about 1971. 71.
Wow. Man, so you've been a pro for 50 plus years, and how old are you now?
76.
So why'd you do it?
Well, I worked at the driving range when I was in high school, and then went in the Air Force and started playing some golf. Got out of the Air Force, and the guy that I worked for in high school asked me to work for him. And again, work for him again. And so I started going down there and working for him again. Next thing you know, I'm working. And then he said there's an opportunity for me to work as a golf pro at a 18-hole par 3 in Long Beach called Heartwell Golf Park. I go down there and apply and I get the job. So next thing I know, I'm a bona fide apprentice golfer at Heartwell Golf Park, Long Beach, 18-hole par 3.
Cool. So let me just unpack that. So like golf was in your life. It was something you did with your dad. It was a job. Mm-hmm. You loved it. It continued in the military with the Air Force. Mm-hmm. Then when you're done with the Air Force, you kind of went back to what you knew and it was a perfect fit. And ultimately that led to Tiger. Do I have it in the correct order?
Yeah, kind of. And then I had the job in Long Beach. Mm-hmm. And then I started a junior program. I thought it was a good idea. And so I started a junior program. And then somewhere along the line, I don't know how long it was after I started my Saturday junior program, the Tiger showed up. And next thing you know, Tiger's there and he starts playing golf. He's hitting his tee shots and his next shot on the green. And he's playing with these kids that are twice his height, even though they're maybe 13, 14 years old. And it was obviously he was super good and everyone was having a good time. And yeah, it was a good time.
What was the kids' reaction to Tiger? Were they blown away by just how good he was, how polished he was?
Yeah, they were. And there was a TV show, it might have been That's Incredible. And they came down and they interviewed some of the kids. And they go, yeah, he's out there and he just hits it, knocks it on the green and 2 putts and he doesn't miss very many shots. I can't remember exactly what they said, but something like that. And they were definitely impressed. And he was one of the guys, but he was one of the guys. They were all just And there were some young ladies too, and they were part of the junior golf program on Saturdays. So they all had a good time.
When I see Tiger on TV, I just stop and I have to watch because something great could happen. And how many times did it happen before? What's your experience like watching Tiger on TV?
Yeah, it's not surprising, but he does hit some amazing shots. So, yeah, and I believe that he's probably became the best player there for his time period, mostly because he putts great. And so it's amazing to see him putt. And there was a handful of times I got to walk with him between the ropes and practice rounds and see him when he was an adult playing on the tour. And his putting and bunkers and pitching and chipping are so good. And they were when he was 6.
So would you have, when you're following him and you're seeing his greatness, chasing history and everything, would you harken back and just flash back? It's like, God, I still remember this little kid wearing the number 81 shirt, which folks, look it up online. There's Rudy with a full mustache, a full head of hair, and there's a little Tiger. You know it's Tiger. But do you reminisce when you see what's become of his life?
Yeah, it's nice to see that. He's been a great player for a long time, so it's not news now. But yeah, it was a good time in our lives, and got to see him develop. And next thing you know, he's one of the best players in the world. It was always fun to watch.
Well, Tiger spawned a lot of future golfers. I mean, everybody on tour under the age of 40. I mean, just take Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, John Rahm, everybody who wants. It's all Tiger, Tiger, Tiger.
Yep.
Sometimes the trickle down effect from that is it comes into the junior golf ranks, and then you have pushy parents.
Sometimes, yeah.
What do you see? Like when you have a junior golfer who seems to have some talent and potential, and pushy parents how do you handle that delicacy?
Yeah, that's not an easy one because they are the parents. So I just provide an environment where the kids can have fun. And it's been my experience, it's been a long time. I've had junior programs for a long time. And for the most part, when the kids are having fun, it's my experience that they're not pushy when they're at the golf course. So when they're away from the golf course, I don't know what's going on, but usually because we have a bunch of kids and the kids are all in groups of 2 or 3 or 4, and they're doing putting, pitching, chipping, full swing. Usually parents stay back.
So tell me this, when you teach adults, you often say, play like a kid. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, just you hit the ball the best you can, and when you've hit it, you go do another one. Kids generally don't have this post-shot negative actions. It's like they basically delete bad and remember the good until we tell them that they were bad. They usually don't do it on their own. So I don't put anything in there. They go out there and they learn. I think, kind of like when they're learning to walk or run or something, they fall, you dust them off, maybe they cry for a little bit, and then they're out running again. And so that's how they play the golf. The kids that I know from like 5 to 15, 16, 17, they're almost always having fun. So I call it the fun factor. So they come to our junior program. For the most part, they're going to have fun.
So you've been teaching for 50 plus years. I mean, do you still get a ton of joy out of it? Are you having fun when you're dealing with the juniors? Do they keep you young?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know if they keep me young, but it's fun. Yeah, so that part's good. It is fun. I do still go. I don't have to go, but I like going, and I'll probably be slowing down here a little bit in the next few years. But yeah, just going out there and having the kids and adults. I like coaching adults too, and I like coaching kids. And we have our special adult free lesson days and our kids free lesson days. And then the kids come out on their own, and we provide really inexpensive green fees. So we're just trying to get people to play golf and learn to have fun playing golf.
Rudy, back to when you were an apprentice and everything, things were different. Like you made clubs, you understood, you fixed clubs and everything. I don't know that we see that as much before, but what was that learning experience like for you, and How did it help you later on?
Well, like I said, my first job in high school was working at that from a nice golf pro named Al Wagner. He's no longer with us, but his son was there, and I still talk to his son. And he had a driving range, and he was also making golf clubs. And so I started making golf clubs when I wasn't picking balls up on the landing area. I started to learn to make golf clubs, and that was very much part of what golf pros did in that time period.
So you know how to whip a driver like nobody's business. You can change a grip. You can look at loft and everything. You can bend clubs and everything. You're a golfsmith. I mean, is that what it is? Yeah,
you could come there and I could take a look, and I could take look at your 5-iron, look at him. Well, then you must have hit a tree or something here, and I can put it inside the vise, and I could kink it back to where it should. I can line up all your clubs. Yeah, we did all that then. Mm-hmm. I don't think we really do it today. Certainly in the golf courses where I still coach, there's really very, very minimal equipment adjustment. Usually it's just maybe changing grips.
Right. Now, you chased it for a while. Tell me about your competitive golf experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought I'd try playing tournament golf there in the early 60s. You could, even quite a bit later than that, as a PGA member, you could get your PGA Tour card by becoming a PGA member. It allowed you to play on Monday qualifiers. And so I thought I would try tournament golf. And so I hopped in my car with friends, and I drove with him, and then sometimes not. We were both, sometimes shared cars, sometimes we didn't, and drove, tried to chase some of those Monday qualifiers to get into a PGA Tour event, and which I never did, missed by one twice, and also played the Canadian Tour from Prince Edward Island all the way out to Vancouver. And so I played about a year and a half tournament golf, and that was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. I learned a lot, and I just didn't shoot low enough to win a PGA Tour card or make a living.
Well, what was more fun? Was it chasing the dream? Was it the competition, or was it piling in a car with 4 or 5 of your buddies and same guys in one hotel room?
Yeah, all the above. Trying to make ends meet and get from point A to point B, and learn about your equipment, and then see some of the really good players out there like a Mo Norman, and try to copy him and watch the really good players and try to learn from them. And it was still a fun experience, even though I didn't win any money, but I still made some cuts, got to the final round a few times, mostly not, but I still did. And then I got quite an awareness. I learned a lot, and I go, okay, this is where I am. This is my game. And then I was able to go back to the Heartwell Golf Park and start coaching there again.
Perfect. Yeah. So you scratched that itch, but you had a soft landing, and you probably ended up exactly where you were supposed to be in the big picture of life. How's your golf now, Rudy? How much are you playing?
I'm playing, it depends on the time of the year, but when I'm in California, we're in California about 6 months, in Arizona about 6 months. So in California, I'm playing about 6 holes, 4 days a week. I'm not really playing in very many tournaments. Sometimes I'll play with the seniors group on a Wednesday, but I can shoot right now from the normal white tees. I can shoot high 70s, low 80s most of the time.
Now, you've shot your age before, I take it?
Yes.
How many times?
One time. I shot 69 when I was 69.
Tell me about that.
So I was out at the Heartwell Golf Park, where I was the owner operator for quite a few years, and this time I was just coaching there, and I just went out to play a group, a little group, and we went out and played, and I played. Next thing you know, I'm going to the 18th hole, and I was how old? I was 69, so I was. I can't remember 67. Anyway, 69 was the score I needed on the 18th hole to beat my age. And So on the last hole, I got on the green with on my third shot, and I had about a 3.5 footer downhill to shoot my age. I would have been. I'm 69. I shot 69. So I made the putt and had 69. But I've gotten close after that, but never actually shot my age or under my age.
Tell me about the pressure of that putt, though. Or you know what it's for and how you feeling?
And was like, and I told myself, I looked down there and I got my club. I took some practice swings. I backed off. I looked again, and I said, well, if you're gonna choke this thing, well, miss it like a man. Then just run it in the middle. And I said, okay. Talking to myself, of course. Run it in the middle, and I did. About 3 feet downhill. It would have rolled off the front of the green, probably hit it as hard as I did, but it went right in the middle. And I said, yes, shot my age.
Oh, that is so cool. Were you with friends? Did everybody else know what it was for? What was going on?
No, they didn't care.
Oh, they did too.
Afterwards, they knew. Yeah, they knew a little bit. They shook my hand and stuff. Oh, good job.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, you wrote a book, In Every Kid Lurks a Tiger. What's the premise of that book, and how's it doing?
The premise is that kids just want to have fun. That's what Tiger did. He was just out having fun playing golf. And best I can remember for the years I was around, he was never trying to be a touring pro or a superstar. He just loved playing golf. So, it does remind me that changing his equipment when he was young, those ages, like you talked about, that we weren't there was not much junior golf equipment out there. So he had a couple different sets that I made for him or had them made. But just fun. Golf is fun.
Tell me about tinkering with his equipment, because the stories of him, like drivers and everything, like different Scotty Camerons were made for him, and the sweet spot. He said it's off just a little bit. They put it on them. It was off by like 1/1000th of an inch, which is, to the naked eye, is almost impossible to see. And then he had 3 duplicate drivers made, and Tiger said, nah, one's the weight's not right. And they weighed it, and like the difference in weight was like the weight of a dollar bill. Like who can feel that other than Tiger? Was he fussy back then with what you did with his clubs?
Not that much, but he wanted new clubs when he knew his other clubs were not long enough. So, and you're let's say he's 6. Well, by the time he's 7 or 8, he's going to need another set, and then he might need another set by the time he's 9 or 11, or they're growing, and so. I was able to get him additional sets, and he was always happy when he got his new sets. Remember, he was getting interviewed once, and he said, well, I told him, I said, I knew I had clubs for you back at the golf course. He said, let's go get my clubs. I want my clubs. And he was forgetting everything else, but he knew he needed, and he knew he wanted a new set, which he had.
Rudy Duran is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try a Party. And the Golf Real Estate Pros, Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro from SuncoastDreams.com, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. Tell me this, and I think I have some inside information, so I'm just going to test my buddy, what he thinks he knows. Mutual friend of ours said that you worked with Tiger on his grip at a young age, and he was very resistant for a long time. But he eventually caved in. Why don't you tell it?
Well, when I first saw him, he had his hands on the club. Let's see if I can see. With the palms of his hands facing away. They weren't the typical overlap. And but when he goes down to the driving range, or he goes and chips and putts, he hits it well. So I learned from Tiger, if it's not broken, I don't need to fix it. And so he had a good time with his clubs the way they were. And as he grew, he felt and had a sensory awareness that if he moved his hands, he would be able to hit the ball farther or better or feel better. And so it was really his moves, his adjustment, and his technique that he did to hit the ball further. And yep. he had a funny grip, and it worked.
Yep. He made everything work in the end. But when I see his swing, it just looks so classic. When his putting stroke just seems so classic.
Oh, he was really good at putting. I mean, I think everyone would say, I mean, he is amazing at putting. How many times have we seen him on TV hold these impossible putts or pitches or chips? And but we've also seen him on the golf course hitting into trees. And so his pitching, chipping, and putting is so strong that, I think it takes a little pressure off of his full swing. So he has a chance to go for it and can really go low. So I think that helps. He is so good at pitching, chipping, and putting, or is.
Well, that's the whole game, and that's why most touring pros spend 70% of their time on their short game, because that's where the math and the money are. I mean, but Tiger had it all, so that's why he was so dominant for so long. Rudy, we're getting toward the end here. I've enjoyed our conversation. I want to ask you just one more question. If you had one tip, maybe you've used it before, that works for anybody, good player, average player, whatever, your silver bullet, what would it be?
Well, it's one of the things that I think I learned from the Woods family is that have fun. Tiger loved to come out and have fun, and I called it the fun factor. So I tried to pass that on to all my juniors and my adults today, and for all those past 50 years, and with myself, just try to have a good time, enjoy it. Golf is a wonderful sport. Just play the game and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that takes some of the pressure off you mentally. So you stop thinking about mechanics, you get back to being free. And I'm going to take your advice, because my golf game has been in the toilet for about 6 months. And I'm trying to, and it hasn't been fun because I'm hitting it so poorly. But I think if I just say, the hell with it, let's get back to having fun, you get back to being athletic and smooth. Do you think that might work? Is that your advice for me? I need some help, Rudy.
My advice, and this is what I believe I learned, is remember the good and delete the bad. So when you get home and you're talking to your family, wherever it may or may not be, at that time, talk about the things you did well and try to remember the things you did well that produced the good shots. And if you can remember what you did well or what it feels like, that's really going to help you improve. Be the expert on what you do well, not on what you do wrong. And I think, in the golf industry, a lot of people talk about, oh, I did this wrong. Oh, I did that wrong. If you can, stop that and remember what you did well, and you'll keep doing it more often and you will shoot lower.
I feel so much better for that. I felt like I just had a counseling session there. Rudy, really appreciate the time. I appreciate all you've done for golf. I mean, ultimately, you've made massive contributions to a lot of people we haven't heard of, but to the one that we've all heard of. If not for you, you played a role in Tiger, and I thank you for that. And I thank you for just, if you play golf, you're my friend. That's the way I roll. We're friends.
Yeah, I was very lucky to have him guide me in those early years.
He guided you and you guided him. Rudy, hey, I wish you all the best. Big thanks as we wrap things up to Party Drinks, and also to the Golf Real Estate Pros, Vince Vizicaro and Gene Walsh, SuncoastStreams.com, division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. For Rudy Duran, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, My Golf Story.
Thank you, Kevin.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the Golf Real Estate Pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoaststreams.com or call 941-220-4000.